Welcome back to my channel. I am your favorite mother of three, Bougie Vintage, and today's video is another P-Valley recap. I asked y'all what show you want me to stop doing, and you were all confused by the way I worded the question, and I kind of knew that was gonna happen. I still posted it, and you guys were like, yeah, no, you want P-Valley. But the vote was kind of split. It was almost 50-50. So I decided to keep both because they both air on the same day. It's kind of difficult. But you guys said you don't mind if I upload it late. So that means you better watch it, okay? I had a crazy week. So I'm pretty much just trying to catch back up. But yeah, my week was so hectic. It's Thursday now. Another P-Valley episode is going to come out on Sunday. So I'm like, I need to get this filmed and edited and up. So this episode was called The Dirty Dozen because it's the episode where Keyshawn and Lil Murda are on the road, finally going on tour. I didn't see a makeup look that I wanted to recreate, so I'm just going with the flow today, doing my own thing. So the opening scene is very, very inappropriate and wild, and I told you guys before, this is definitely not a show you can watch around young people. Okay, this show is mature, very mature. So Roulette, one of the new strippers, she is in the red room and she's entertaining a guy in there. Her whole coochie is out, okay? Now, they're not really showing it, but you can see it. You can see that what she's doing. She's playing with it on camera. I'm like, oh my God, this is like porn. This is not even TV anymore. No wonder it's not on regular television. You have to get stars to watch it. She has on a COVID mask, of course, and she is playing with her coochie. And the guy that she's entertaining, well, he wants more. He wants her to take her mask off because he is extremely turned on. In the strip club, obviously, you're not supposed to be doing extras, but the girls do it anyway. So he wanted her to do extras. He wanted her to take off her mask. And when she did, and he saw that she had what he would like to call dick sucking lips, DSL, that's when he started to ask her, you know, what that mouth do? She tells him Clifford's rule, which is obviously no hoeing. If you hoe, you out the door. That's what Clifford's rule is. And so she says she could break a rule for a brick. So he pulls out a wad of cash. There was already a lot of cash on the floor anyway, but he pulls out a wad of cash and pretty much is about to get his own way. He definitely had the meat. His meat was rather large and she got to doing her thing. And I was like, wow, the show was getting more and more raunchy. Like season 1 was not so raunchy. At least from what I remember, it was not so raunchy. This season is raunchy AF, okay? They are not holding anything back this season. They're pushing the envelope. So Roulette rakes in a big bag that night, obviously, because she's really good on the pole, but she also is obviously getting people together in the red room. So she has this huge bag and she goes up to Mercedes and she's like, hey Sadie's, your bag is not half empty, it's half full. I'm an optimistic bitch. And I'm like, if you don't leave this lady alone. Mercedes is not trying to hear that right now because she used to be top earner girl, and right now she is barely bringing in a produce bag from the grocery store of money. So obviously Mercedes was not impressed with Roulette, and she tells Roulette to mind the business that pays her. Which ironically is the same business that pays Mercedes, only Roulette is making way more than Mercedes right now. So in the next scene, it's the next day, and Mercedes is walking around like Cleo from Set It Off. Okay, she has her straight backs going. It's giving Drake, but she has way more hang time than Drake, obviously. She calls Coach on FaceTime, and she asks him if his sponsorship. So she calls Coach on FaceTime and she asks him if, you know, his sponsorship deal is still on the table. And of course he tells her it's still standing tall, very much giving sexual innuendo because this wasn't no regular sponsorship deal. Okay, it wasn't no wig from AliExpress. No, this is an actual sponsor. I need a sponsor. Okay, it was sugar daddy type sponsorship that they were discussing. So she tells him she wants to renegotiate terms and conditions, and he jokingly asks her, well, damn, are you gonna have a lawyer present? And then she was like, no, but your wife will be there. And he's like, well, what does she have to do with this? And Mercedes was like, listen, there is no coincidence that wife rhymes with knife. So basically, she's saying, if I'm gonna be giving you the Mercedes experience, you need to get your wife's permission. That's the bottom line. So they finish up the chat and get off of the phone. Mercedes has been trying so hard for so long to get out of the strip club, and there's always something that pulls her back in or that gets in her way as to why she can't leave. And I think that happens to a lot of people. Like in the real world, they want to get out of certain lifestyles, but they can't because whatever reason. And so that's really what she's struggling with. She's desperately trying to be different, create a different life for herself and for Tarika, but she keeps getting these setbacks. So that's why she's reached out to the sponsor, to the coach, to get the ball rolling to make more money so that she can open her business and just do that. She does not want to strip. So in the next scene, Tarika, who is Mercedes' daughter, she pulls up to her grandma's church because Mercedes' mom has been basically put in boxes together for the people of Chucalissa because of the pandemic. So pulls up to the church. She wants to get a box of supplies. Now, when she pulls up, her grandma comes to the car because her grandma wasn't the original person that came to the car. It was another lady. And when the other lady called for her grandma, because she didn't know that Tarika was her granddaughter, Tarika was kind of like, no, please don't do that. But she came anyway. Tarika's grandma excuses the lady and she's talking to Tarika. Tarika calls her by her first name. So grandma's like Tarika and she calls her grandma by her first name, and her grandma threatens to stop a mud hole through her because she is not about to be disrespected, and Tarika's doing too much by calling her by her first name. Y'all know how the elders are, okay? You cannot go around calling people from a certain generation by their first name. It's considered highly disrespectful. So she had originally asked for 2 boxes, and you know, she had said one was for her neighbor, but what grandma knew that she was lying. She says to her, where is your mom? And then she's like, Mercedes or Shell? And she's like, Shell, the one that raised you. And she tells her grandma she's sleeping, and her grandma's like at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So her grandma knows something's up. And Tarika's like, yes, ma'am. And so she's like, you sure look like your mama when you get to lying. And I was like, ooh. No, that's right. And it's so weird because to me, Tarika actually does favor Mercedes in a weird way. Like it's such a believable pairing. Grandma ends up giving her 4 boxes. It's 1 per house or 1 per car, but she gives her 4 boxes because she knows something's up. So in the next scene, the Dirty Dozen tour, Hearst, is stopped at a gas station, and the little white girl at the counter is very much giving racist, and she is ready to press the friggin' police button because she thinks that these black people are up in the grocery store, in the gas station, trying to rob her. Like, ma'am, get it together. Get it together. Obviously, that's not why they were in there. They were just there as a pit stop. They were going to the bathroom. They're getting some snacks for the road. And so she doesn't end up pushing the button, but her hand was on it. And then they start taking pictures outside of the gas station, posting them on social media to say, hey, we're in your city. The Dirty Dozen tour is officially here. So as per usual, Clifford and Autumn get to arguing. Nothing is new here. Clifford and Autumn are arguing, and Clifford's mission here is to renegotiate the percentage in which he owns the pink with Autumn. He basically talks her into doing 69% ownership. So Autumn would have 69% and he would have the rest. And that's what they agree to. Since Mercedes cannot perform right now at the club, which is the other reason her shoulder's messed up, that's the other reason that she went and decided she's gonna get her a sponsor. Since she is unable to perform, Autumn is like how she wants to replace Mercedes for the time being, and she wants to replace her with Roulette and Whisper. And Clifford is like hesitant because he knows Mercedes would obviously be pissed off about that. So even though he's hesitant, he is about his bag at the end of the day. So he tells her, if this comes back to bite us, your idea, it was your idea, it's gonna be your fault. And Autumn is like, I will take 69% of the blame. And I'm like, I know that's right, Autumn. You better stand your ground, girl. Clifford is not about to throw you under the bus. Another part of their discussion was about how they needed a new DJ, and Big Bone was there, and she was like, you know, she could do it. And Clifford was opposed initially, but obviously Autumn wasn't. Autumn is all about giving Big Bone her chance in the strip club, okay? So she was not opposed to it, and so Clifford ends up agreeing to Big Bone being the DJ as well. And Clifford's like, well, I guess Big Bone can't be any worse than Big L. She's moving on up, girl. She went from being a bottle girl to now the DJ. I don't actually know if that's moving up or moving backwards, but either which way, Big Bone is employed, girl. I know that's right, Miracle. You better get your shine on. Clifford's excited, and he's like, we're opening doors and legs and wallets tonight. I love Clifford so much. Oh my gosh. I really wish I could meet him in person. So in the next scene, there is a chicken dinner at Delta Valley, which I guess you could say is the rival church of Mercedes' mom's church. Now, churches should not have rivalries, but you already know Chuckalisa is very much problematic. So they're having this chicken dinner, and Mayor Kyle is there to speak to the congregation. I have to say that Mercedes' mom is turning looks, okay? She's always turning looks because she, a church woman, so she always has on her big hat, and she had on this pink outfit with this big ginormous pink hat. Mama is turning looks, okay? That being said, her and Mayor Kyle are going back and forth because she calls him out about the casino. The pastor at Delta Valley, he tells Mayor Kyle that he can be assured that his congregation will vote accordingly. And I'm like, oh. So, of course, Mercedes' mom starts to doing a whole entire monologue telling the mayor and also talking to the congregation at Delta Valley that they will not turn Chuckalisa into Sodom and Gomorrah. And she also is starting to tell the congregation, like, please remember that you are Black. They are not going to hire you at this so-called casino that they're planning to put up. They're going to say that you guys don't know how to count. So they're not going to hire us. They're gonna hire their own people and take over Chuckalisa. The congregation is agreeing with her. She also tells them to not trust the white man. And the congregation gets to clapping and agreeing with her. It was like almost like she gave them their very own wake-up call. As problematic as Mercedes' mom has been, she definitely has what's best in mind for Chuckalisa, and she also knows if they want to put this casino up, obviously the pink is her daughter's main source of income right now, would end up being shut down or tore down. And even though her and her mom have problems, I do feel like a part of the reason that, you know, she is going hard for Chuckalisa is because of Mercedes. She feels like she owes Mercedes something because she knows that she stole from Mercedes to build her church, which is actually why karma is coming right back around for Miss Mamas, because she was dead wrong in that situation. Now, of course, she could not be done without dragging somebody for filth, so she calls out whoever made the chicken. She said, and who made this chicken? Because it is too dry, child. Now, how you gonna have dry chicken at a chicken dinner? So in the next scene, we see Big Frida, because we are in New Orleans, and Big Frida is getting her little cameo in. Big Frida is making the coin, honey. She's doing P Valley. She's done another song with Miss Beyonce. First of all, shout out to Beyonce one time, because I don't know why everybody's saying they don't like the song. I love the song. I've had it on repeat. I absolutely love Beyonce's new song. Lil Murda and Keyshawn are obviously on their Dirty Dozen tour. Keyshawn at the time was in the back room, or in like her dressing room, and she was on live because that's how she gets to the bag, and she was showing her chocolate covered strawberries. So Lil Murda comes into Keyshawn's dressing room and he's jealous of her chocolate covered strawberries, but they remind him, nigga, you're allergic. Like, what? So he's like, so then where's my strawberries and Benadryl? And I'm like, really, sir? You're gonna risk it all? You're gonna risk it all for some strawberries? Please. So Keyshawn and Lil Murda, they took a picture of Keyshawn like feeding Lil Murda strawberries, and Rome posted it to his Instagram. Because Keyshawn's man is, you know, crazy, she wasn't really enthused about him posting the picture, but he's like, your man does not follow me on Instagram. And I'm like, how do you know that? What if he has a burner account? What the hell? But he says he's not following me. And Keyshawn says, you know, it should be fine. But she looks very worried. She looks concerned. Like, she's gonna have to deal with the wrath of Derek if he gets a hold of that picture. So at this point, I'm watching and I'm like, I'm gonna have to bring up Lil Murda in my therapy sessions because I don't think that I should be this attracted to him. I really don't. And as I'm watching, I'm like, oh my God. So I realized that Lil Murda reminds me of my first boyfriend ever in life. Child, he is probably in jail right now. Like, he's either dead or in jail. That is for sure. There's no way that that's not the case. So I rebuke that. But yeah, he definitely reminds me of my first boyfriend ever. So in the next scene, Mercedes in her car outside of like a condo, and she's getting a COVID rapid test done, I guess, before she can go into the condo. And all of a sudden her phone starts singing, "'Cause I'm a gummy bear. Yes, I'm a yummy, funny, yummy, yummy gummy bear." And I'm like, ma'am, why is that your ringtone? But it's Tarika calling. So her daughter's calling her and she's kind of trying to rush her daughter off the phone because she's obviously pulling up to the coach right now. Her daughter is obviously having issues at home and she wants to talk to her mom. So you can tell that she's kind of trying to keep her mom on the phone. But Mercedes is busy trying to get this bread. So she's like rushing her off the phone and she's like, I'm working. Tells Tarika, like, we'll have to talk later. So at the end of that phone call, you see in the background at Tarika's house, her mom, Shell, is slumped on the couch, okay? She is sleeping on the couch. I'm like, is this lady dying of a disease? Like, what is happening? It sucks for Tarika because she's so young. She's been through so much, obviously. Nobody seems to be able to get it right where she's concerned. She's definitely been given a very unfair hand. So Mercedes is at this condo and it is absolutely stunning. It's gorgeous. She pours herself some champagne and she goes to like take a selfie at the window with the view. She quickly jumps back into reality because she felt like Keyshawn and she was a bit embarrassed by herself, puts her phone away. But at the same time, a woman is walking down the stairs and she's like, Mercedes. And so Mercedes walks up to the woman in the white dress and she's like, you must be Farrah. And she kind of gestures to like shake Farrah's hand. But Farrah has an attitude, girl. A real stank attitude. So obviously this is Coach's wife. Farrah had gone to the kitchen to like get a glass or something. Coach is coming down the stairs at the same time. But Mercedes says to Farrah that the condo is beautiful. She says it with her Chuckalisa accent. And Farrah's like, beautiful. And Mercedes looks kind of embarrassed. Like, well, what the hell did I say wrong? Because one thing about people with accents, however they say it is how they say it. You cannot go telling them that's not how you say it. How she said it is how it's said. Like, what? Obviously, she knows that this is the lady's husband she's about to have relations with. So the lady's gonna have a bit of an attitude, okay, period. Even if she's going along with it, she's gonna have an attitude about this lady being in her house. Mercedes compliments the coach. She hasn't seen him in a while, but she compliments him on, you know, he looks different in this lighting versus in the club lighting. I don't know. As the wife, I'm like, how is she just there, like, watching this go down? I could not. Like, I really could not. It would be too much. So she hands Mercedes a stack of paper and some NDAs and tells her she needs to sign it. And so I'm like, well, this is organized and arranged, honey. Most cheating men aren't so organized with it. They sloppy jalopy, okay? Shout out to Coach. Farrah kisses her husband and then walks off. So at the club on tour, Guy walks up to Big Teak, who is the guy that Lil Murda had picked up from jail. He is basically security on the Dirty Dozen tour. He walks up to Big Teak, Rome, and Wody, and Big Teak looks unimpressed and he walks away. The guy starts inquiring about Lil Murda, and there's a guy beside them, and the guy beside them refers to Keyshawn as Lil Murda's lady. At that point, the guy that walked up to them is looking real jealous, and he corrects the guy that said that, and he's like, that is not Lil Murda's lady. Why are you so pressed, sir? So he even goes as far as saying, well, when his next tape drops called Trade Tales, I said, ooh, he telling on him. The guy is gonna owe him some blue hundreds. And so I'm like, this is getting messy by the day, and this guy has a vendetta against Lil Murda. He obviously wanted that old thing back. So now we jump back to the condo, and Mercedes is sitting on the couch, and she and Farrah are having a conversation, and they're drinking some wine. Mercedes starts admiring the artwork on the wall. There's pictures of the coach, but because of the angle of the pictures, she is seemingly impressed by them or intrigued by the artwork. So her and Farrah get to talking, and Farrah's like how she's never met any of Coach's other hoes, and Mercedes is offended. Obviously, she's like, I ain't no hoe. And Farrah has to politely remind her that she's about to be paid $10,000 for a weekend to sleep with her husband. Mercedes had no argument after that one. She's like, you know what? I guess I am kind of a hoe. So she didn't really rebuttal that statement. Why would she? What is there to say? You're hoeing. That's what you're doing. So own it. So Farrah then makes a joke and says, hell, I don't even make that much and I have to lay up under him all week. And I'm like, why is Farrah giving this man so much damn freedom? Why is she letting this man have his cake and eat it 2, 3, 4, and 5? Why? Does Farrah have some side people? Like, what is going on? If it's an open marriage, it's an open marriage, which is crazy. Then why did you get married? But like, if she doesn't have anybody on the side that she is, you know, sleeping with, I don't understand why she's okay with her man doing what he's doing. Is it the money? Why would she be okay with this? You could tell she's actually not okay with it, but she goes along with it for whatever reason. One thing I'm not gonna do is sacrifice my own happiness for somebody else's. Been there, done that. It ain't fun. I don't know what she's doing over there, but we're gonna pray for her, okay? Farrah asks Mercedes if she wants to trade places with her. And Mercedes is like, hell no. I do not want to be married to no man just for him to want to be sleeping with random people on the weekends. What is the point? What's the point? They laugh and they're getting along. So Farrah asked Mercedes, why did you ask for my permission? It's not like you needed to. It's not like you needed my permission. He was gonna sleep with you regardless. So Mercedes is like, because she has integrity. And Farrah kind of questions that, like, do you really? How do you have integrity? And you're willingly sleeping with my husband. Whether he wants to sleep with you or not is beyond the point. How are you saying that you have integrity? Where is this integrity? Integrity must have a different meaning, child, because it's not giving that. I'll tell you that right now, it's not. So Mercedes says, you know, we're all hoes to something, which I think is true. She said she never thought that she would be here, but she's already done many things that she never thought she would do. So basically just adding on to it. Like, what is this gonna do? So if she can make $10,000 sleeping with a married man that's wife is agreeing to it, why wouldn't she? That's the easiest $10,000 she'll ever make in her life. So I have a question for you that are watching this. Would you sleep with a married man if his wife said it was okay for $10,000? Would you do that? The coach comes back after taking a call, and he is elated, okay, that his ladies are getting along. His wife looks uncomfortable. She's trying her best to hide it, but her face is saying everything we need to know. So the wife was going to excuse herself. I will be damned if I'm excusing myself in my own damn home. They got the game messed up, okay? Like, what she mean she's gonna leave them to their weekend? Where are you going? I cannot. So she is gonna excuse herself, but her husband stops her and insists that she gets the Mercedes experience. He has a pole in his living room, and he wants Mercedes to show her the trick that she does at the club, girl. And I'm like, this man has some nerve. One thing a man is always going to come with is what? The audacity. I mean, hey, if she's with it, she's with it. She tells Mercedes, like, you don't have to do that. But Mercedes is like, you got somewhere I could plug this in. So she plugs her phone in, gets to dancing and emphasizing and dancing and emphasizing. Mercedes then proceeds to take her clothes off and, of course, get to the getting to. Okay, she is on the pole and the wife is bothered, but she is trying her hardest not to be. I think Mercedes was experiencing a little bit of arm pain while she was on the pole, but she, you know, she soldiered through it and kept dancing. At this point, we see that Farrah is amazed by Mercedes. She's turned on. All of a sudden, the phone starts going, 'cause I'm a gummy bear. Mercedes came off the pole so fast and went to ignore the call from Tarika. Why was your phone not on vibrate, ma'am? Why are you gonna have Gummy Bear playing while you are working the pole? Please put your phone on Do Not Disturb. So she ignores the call, and then Tiana Taylor's song comes back on, and Mercedes starts walking over and gets onto the coach. And all of a sudden, we see Farrah is ass naked. Okay, Farrah is trying to get in on the action. She's like, I am not leaving. You gonna have to give us both a show in the bedroom for this 10K. If I was Mercedes, I would have been like, y'all gonna have to up it to 20K because I did not agree to no threesome now. She was present and she was like, I am not leaving. I need me the Mercedes experience. That happened and I was like, this show is just getting too much. Like, what is happening here? I must say, the coach reminds me of two people, Dr. Dre and Peter Gunz. If Dr. Dre and Peter Gunz had a love child, I feel like the coach is what he would look like. But yeah, the three of them are getting it on and popping. Andre is on the phone with his wife. She's actually not a nurse, she's a doctor. She tells Andre that her dad has a job offer for him, but of course Andre declines it, and he also tells her that he won't be home anytime soon. So back at the condo, Mercedes is having a whole threesome, the coach and his wife. Again, the Gummy Bear song interrupts their lovemaking. So she gets up and answers the phone like, what the hell, Tarika? Like, why are you calling me? I told you I was working. But it wasn't Tarika on the phone. It was actually an officer from the sheriff's department. He was saying that he pulled Tarika over for underage driving and that the passenger in the car is actually Shell, which is Tarika's mom. So the sheriff tells her if somebody doesn't come and pick Tarika up, she's going to be jailed for underage driving. Child, Mercedes can't catch a break because she's supposed to be making this money with her box. But once again, she gets interrupted. So I don't think she's gonna get that 10K. She had to leave to deal with Tarika being in trouble. So now my follow-up question is, if you were in Mercedes' position, would Tarika have gone to jail and you make your 10K or 20K and you pick her up later? Or would you leave what you were doing to go and pick Tarika up? Even though technically she's not your responsibility. So in the next scene, Lil Murda is being swarmed by a bunch of groupies. He's trying to get into the hearse. So there's a girl and she is like going out of her way trying to get to Lil Murda. But the same guy that was in the club that was pressed about whether or not Keyshawn was Murda's girlfriend or whatever, he calls that girl that's trying to get to Lil Murda a bitch and says that she's not Lil Murda's type. And I'm like, why is this man out here telling on Lil Murda like this? Like, what is this? Like, he needs to back up. So Big Teak starts fighting. I mean, he is security, so he should be fighting the guy. But he starts fighting him, and Nuck If You Buck is playing. I'm like, the dramatics are real here. While this is happening, Keyshawn's on live, and all of a sudden you hear gunshots beating. Bow, 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 bow. But nobody's getting shot. They rush to get into the hearse to, you know, ensure everybody's safety, and they take off. So at the Pink, the girls, the dancers, they see... Shout out to my mom one time because she blessed me with a chestnut pencil. Girl, I haven't had chestnut in so long. They see Keyshawn's live and they're like, ugh, Keyshawn brings drama everywhere she goes. As if it's her fault that people decided to get to shoot. And Keyshawn was minding her business on that live, okay? So Whisper and Roulette are in the bathroom. Roulette realizes that her period is starting, but it wasn't supposed to. And so Whisper hands her a tampon because everybody everybody's periods at the pink are basically in sync. I have my period now, but like not like right now, but like I get it now. I hadn't gotten it in a while because I was busy having babies. But now that my period is back, I'm so glad that there's nobody around to make my period change because their period's on too. You know, when you're in high school and you hang out with your friends, everybody's period's on at the same time. Or if you have sisters and you guys get your period around the same time. I'm so glad I don't have to suffer with that anymore because I like to know when my period's coming and I don't like it to be switching on me. Whisper gives her a tampon and then Whisper puts a bump on her hand, so she's some blow. Puts it on the back of her hand. Instead of her doing it, she starts saying to Roulette, "You never did tell me where you were from." So Roulette says, "Hell." And I'm like, that is not something I would be claiming, girl. Funny though, because Roulette definitely does have dark energy, and that is something that Whisper said about her. And Roulette was offended by it, but Whisper said it's not a bad thing. She puts the cocaine on her hand, but she doesn't do it herself. She offers it to Roulette. Roulette hesitates, but then she indeed does take it. And I'm like, girl, they had you be a crackhead on Snowfall. Now you're over here doing bumps of cocaine off somebody else's hand. Please stop. Okay, they need to stop it. Enough is enough. And like, even this, like, I think there was drugs on last season, but like, I don't remember any of the dancers doing drugs. Anyway, she takes the hit and then you hear Clifford calling for the girls. Clifford is giving out his rules and regulations always, but he was saying to the girls, make sure you have your COVID mask on. And right after he finishes his speech, one of the dancers sneezes. And so everybody's freaking out because it's a whole pandemic. You cannot be sneezing in the open in a pandemic. Okay, you just are not allowed to do it. Do you remember like right when COVID first became a thing? If you were out at like the grocery store and somebody so much as cleared their throat, you were on edge, like what the hell? And so that's basically what happened there. And so she said she has allergies. Clifford wasn't buying it. He told her to go get some damn Claritin and get up out his face, and he dismisses her. I thought he was kicking her out, but he actually just told her to get out of the back room. Clifford takes on the stage. Sometimes he dances, and he was putting on one hell of a show. Okay, he was working that pole. I'm pretty sure there was a body double, but like it was implied. And so he has his booty cheeks out, and it looks like there's 2 piercings on his ass. The costume design for Clifford is like next level. I'm like, whoever's designing these costumes, they need to go to Jamaica and design the Pasa Pasa costumes for the girlies, okay? Because they are doing it up. Whisper takes the stage after Clifford, and Roulette takes the stage as well, because Whisper and Roulette are technically like a duo. Big Bone is working the DJ booth as she should. Roulette and Whisper are killing it on stage, but Roulette got a little bit beside herself and decided she was gonna break a rule, which was exposing her titties. And so Clifford starts losing it over there by the DJ booth, and he's not impressed at all. Like at all. You're not allowed to take your boobies out at the strip club. So yeah, there's money flying everywhere. People are not here to see Mercedes anymore. They're not here for the Mercedes experience. They are here for the Roulette and Whisper experience. Okay? I don't even think Mercedes is gonna be able to make a comeback. And she doesn't even want to really want to be there. So like, she's not gonna make a comeback. They are taking over. I have a feeling Mercedes is going to be written out of the show, but I hope not because I love her character. So in the next scene, Gidget's boyfriend, this white guy, and Big L are talking. And he's complaining that Gidget won't pick up her phone, and he misses her, and he wants a normal life, and all these things. And so Big L reminds him, like, she's not going to pick up the phone. You technically killed her mom, because her mom was on drugs and he gave her bad drugs, and now her mom is dead. He's crying about how he wants to give her a ring and a white picket fence and a golden retriever, because those are things that Gidget wanted. And so Roulette and Whisper come outside and they join the conversation. Right off the bat, you could tell that he was taking an interest in Roulette. So this white boy is looking at Roulette and he wants some of that chocolate. He compliments Roulette, but she doesn't realize it's a compliment, so she's kind of on edge at first. And so Whisper explains to Roulette what he's talking about. He's a little bit embarrassed that he wants to marry a stripper because that is a faux pas. You definitely are not supposed to marry a stripper. And so Whisper leaves, and Roulette and Gidget's boyfriend are there by themselves. and she's taking a liking to him too. So she likes Gidget's boyfriend. Gidget's boyfriend is seeming to like her. There's lots of sexual tension there. She gets real close to him, like she wants to kiss him, and then she tells him he has something in his teeth, and she pulls a knife out of her, I think, sock, and uses the knife to dig out the spinach in the man's teeth. I said, ma'am. Why so extra? So in this next scene, Mercedes is spraying cold water in Shell's face because she's in the bathtub, drunker than a freaking skunk. She's slowly coming to her senses, but she's still very much drunk and still very much vomiting. So her and Mercedes get to exchanging words because Tarika is the love child of Shell's husband, Cortez, and Mercedes. So Mercedes is cussing her out because she's supposed to be sober. So obviously her drinking problem has been an ongoing issue. But because of the pandemic, she's been jobless, and so she's been turning to alcohol to fix her problems. Obviously, that's not gonna fix your problems. So Mercedes is cussing her out because she's upset that she had Tarika driving her car with her being drunk in the passenger seat. She fixes her mouth to call Mercedes a hoe. Anytime anybody calls Mercedes a hoe, she is highly offended by it. She does not believe that that is her truth. She draws the line at stripper. So they get into an argument about Cortez. Shell exposes that Mercedes lied about being 18 when she was really only 15, and that's how she ended up pregnant, because she lied about her age. So she starts telling Shell, like, I asked you to give me my child back. I asked you, I begged you, I pleaded with you, and you said no, 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 no. And even after Cortez died, you still refuse to give me back my daughter. So then Shell reveals to her that she didn't say no. Cortez said no. In his last breath on his deathbed, he told her to keep Tarika. She's like, you think I want to be staring at Cortez's mistake every single day of my life? And I'm like, okay, well, he did. Why are you abiding by what he said? Give the lady her child back. Like, what the hell? So Mercedes is stunned by this because she doesn't know this is why she hasn't been able to get her daughter back. And so Shell starts laughing hysterically about how she's being loyal to a dead man who, if he was alive walking this earth right now, he wouldn't be loyal to her. Clearly not, when he had a child outside of his marriage with an underage person. And so they pan out and you see that Tarika is at the bathroom door eavesdropping and listening to the conversation that her mothers are having about her. Tarika didn't know the situation. She didn't know that her mom lied about her age when she got pregnant. She didn't know that her mom has been trying to get her back and she's been told she can't have her back. She didn't know these things, so she's hurt by it because why is this my life? So we get back to the pink and Big Bone is throwing that ass back. Okay, Big Bone. Miracle Watts' bum is just too big. Like, it's huge. So she's over there throwing it back, and of course the girls are mad at this because every 5 minutes Big Bone is doing something she's not supposed to do. She's trying to get paid, okay? And she's stealing the shine away from the girls that are actually supposed to be dancing. One of the back rooms, champagne room, whatever, there's a guy in there and he's talking to one of the strippers that has her mask on and telling her that he's looking for the girl with the dick-sucking lips because his homeboy told him about this girl at the strip club. This stripper is offended by this. She's annoyed by it because there's no extras supposed to be happening, and she leaves. So in the office, Andre texts Autumn, and he's basically inquiring about Corbin's offer. So she tells Clifford she's not settling for less than $10 million. Clifford's concern is, okay, well, even if that's the case and you sell the club, where are all these girls gonna go? Autumn, because she's so cold and all she can think about is herself, really, she's like, you shouldn't even be worried about that. That's none of your business what they're gonna do if we sell the pink. Like, why do you care? And I'm like, really? She has zero loyalty to any other girls up in the club, okay? Zero loyalty. So even though Clifford is concerned about the girls, he does realize that if they do sell the pink, he will have $3 million. And Autumn is like, so you do know how to do math. And I'm like, ooh, not the shade, girl. Andre and Corbin are at the table at, I think, Mayor Ruffin's house. Corbin actually despises Autumn. Like, he hates her guts. I want pizza. Andre tells Corbin that he thinks the Promised Land people might just bite on the $10 million. They really want to put their casino up. So if she doesn't want to budge for less than $10 million, Promised Land people might do what she wants. And so they discuss how it seems like she's waiting for the town to vote. And if they do indeed vote and want the casino, then she is going to be the most powerful person in all of Chucalissa. I told you, Autumn knows what she's doing. She's very much calculated, and as much as she's power tripping right now, she sees the potential of selling the pink, but she knows she would be robbing herself if she didn't sell it for what she wants for it. So Andre and Corbin are in agreement that she would be even more powerful than Corbin's brother, Mayor Kyle. So Corbin is like, well, nobody will run against my brother. Nobody's dumb enough to do that. And Andre is like, he just might. Corbin tells Andre he wouldn't win, and he lists all the reasons why Andre wouldn't win if he did indeed run up against Mayor Kyle. So then Corbin tells him if he was stupid enough to run, he might just be stupid enough to foot the bill. And I said, ooh, they is plotting, okay? They are plotting. And that's probably exactly what's gonna happen. So in the next scene, Lil Murda is being stalked by a bunch of groupies, okay? And I get it. I absolutely get it. So Keyshawn opens her door and she plants a big sloppy kiss on Lil Murda. Now, Keyshawn knows Lil Murda's secret. She knows he's in love with Clifford, so she knows he's gay. She knows he don't want her. She don't want him, obviously, but she was trying to get the girls to go away, and it worked. The girls were not impressed at all. So Lil Murda is lovesick, and he is trying to send Clifford a postcard, and so he's trying to write a little something on the postcard to send to Clifford. Keyshawn is giving love advice. Why? I don't know, but she is the last person that I would be taking love advice from at this point. Lil Murda's like, well, he knows what he did to get exiled from Clifford and the pink, but what did she do? And she gives him a very vague answer. Like, she doesn't tell him, you know, the full truth. She says something about she didn't believe in fairy tales or something along those lines. So she takes the postcard, she starts running all over the room with it, and basically like saying, we're gonna send it right now and all these things. Lil Murda is not impressed with this. He is trying to get the postcard back, and he's not in the mood to chase her around the room. He's a little bit annoyed, but like, he's not mad. I don't know if you guys know the energy that he was putting out. Like, Keyshawn, like, come on, let's go. I'm not playing with you. Give me my damn postcard back. Like, I'm not gonna chase you around this room to get it from you. So she opens the door and she's about to run out, like she's going to drop it in the mailbox, and Big Teak shows up and she kind of runs into him, and he basically tells Lil Murda, like, hey, I need you to follow me somewhere. Let's go. So in the next scene, Mercedes is in Shell's kitchen trying to fix something to eat. Tarika asks her mom about the argument that her and Shell were having in the bathroom, and is basically like asking her, like, is that stuff true? Like, did you lie about your age? Blah, 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 blah. Tarika is showing ample resentment towards her mom right now. She is very much hurt, and her mom explains to her, like, yes, getting pregnant was a mistake, but you are not a mistake. I love you. I always loved you. The minute you were born, you were loud, just like me. I could never deny you, blah, 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 blah. I had to do what my mom said. I was a little girl. I was 15, and my mom said I had to let Cortez raise you. Tarika wasn't really trying to hear that. She's like, okay, but you didn't stay 15. Like, you grew up. And so she explains to her, I became a dancer, and no court is going to give a stripper back her baby. Tarika tells her, like, that's an excuse. And it always seems like that's what the excuse is gonna be. So Tarika isn't impressed by this, and she decides she doesn't want anything to eat. She goes upstairs to her room. In the next scene, Big Teak and Lil Murda are sitting on like a stoop. They're sitting on a stoop and they're just having conversation while they drink their 40 ounce. Big Teak tells Lil Murda, you know, he's surprised he hasn't tried to do anything with Keyshawn yet, sexually, or even just dating her. And Lil Murda tells him, listen, Keyshawn ain't into me. She likes her man how I like my Air Forces crispy and white, and I cackled. I said, not crispy white, child. He's really just making an excuse because he doesn't like Keyshawn. He likes Clifford. He apologizes to Lil Murda and tells him things kind of got out of hand earlier with the whole fight with the guy, and he just hates disloyal niggas. So Lil Murda says, you know, I'm not even tripping, like, it's not a big deal. And he asks Big Teak if he's trying to start a war. And so Big Teak's like, no, I'm trying to secure. That's what you hired me for. I'm trying to have your back. So then they start reminiscing on their time in jail. So when they were in jail, Lil Murda had gotten stabbed and they had just missed his kidney when they shanked him. And so he tells Big Teak, like, if you weren't there that day, I probably would be dead. He's basically just saying, like, he's forever grateful. So after that altercation in jail, Big Teak got sent to the hole. Obviously, in the hole, you're there for like 23 hours a day. I think you get let out for 1 hour. Sometimes they don't even end up letting you out. And so he tells Lil Murda, like, you were sending me those wacky ass rhymes on toilet paper. He tells him, like, you know, I don't know how you got that CO to bring me the rhymes you were writing on toilet paper, but it got really dark in the hole and your rhymes were light. When he's saying this, I said, oh my God. The guy knows Lil Murda is gay, but he's not judging him for it because of this situation. So basically, when he said, I don't know what you did to get the CO to bring me those rhymes, it was obvious that Lil Murda and the CO were obviously having some kind of sex. Okay, Lil Murda was sucking his dick, or he was sucking Lil Murda. I don't know what was going on in jail with the CO, but that's what seems to have been the case, because why would the CO bring the napkins down if that wasn't the case? Lil Murda looks guilty AF in this when he says that about the CO, but obviously he's not gonna say I was sucking his dick. Like, he's not gonna say that. So, but it's getting obvious. So I think as the season goes on, it's gonna become more and more evident that Lil Murda is gonna have to come out the closet. So in the next scene, Mayor Kyle visits Mercedes' mama's church with a sheriff. He starts telling her that she messed with the wrong neighbor, and they end up serving her a violation. Her church service, it's not going along with the mayor's rules for the pandemic. So like social distancing and stuff. So they serve her a violation. The sheriff takes his mask down to say something. He's like, nigga, wasn't nobody talking to your overseer ass. And I cackled. I'm like, not at the church now. They are not playing fair serving her this violation, because she's been doing her church services for however long and there was no issue there. But because she showed up at the chicken dinner and called Mayor Kyle out and put a bug in the congregation's ear about what's going to happen if they open the casino, Mayor Kyle is big mad. He's pressed. They exchange a few words and then he goes to leave. Mercedes' mom says, Mayor Kyle. So he turns around and she says, if I messed with the wrong neighbor, you done effed with the wrong bitch. And I'm like, oh, listen, if her church burns down to the ground accidentally, I won't be surprised if that would be an act of God, because how is she in there talking like that? She does not move or act like a saint. Let me just say that, which is how a lot of church people are anyway. Literally standing in the church. She should have burst into flames right then and there, because that is not okay. Keep in mind that while they're having this conversation in the back, because there's like a church office, you can hear the congregation is over there praising the Lord. So while the brethren are in the sanctuary serving Jesus, she's over here using the F word and the B word and cussing out the mayor. And I said, oh, this is not Christian-like. This is not godly. So in the next scene, we see Uncle Clifford got a postcard from New Orleans and it said, you look beautiful in red. And so we see him sit down at his vanity. He's gotten a postcard from every stop of the tour, and I'm like, this is so cute. He's sending him postcards from every stop of the tour, and I'm like, oh my gosh. He is in love, girl. He know he messed up, and I know Clifford is gonna forgive this man. Please. Him and Lil Murda were so in love, and he's definitely gonna forgive him. So Clifford is sat there smiling to himself, and he puts the other postcard on the mirror with the rest of them. So in the last and final scene of the night, Roulette gets out of a car and you see her stripper heels lighten up, and she says to whoever dropped her off, let me know when you want another Roulette experience, okay? So Big L and Gidget's boyfriend are unloading a truck of OCHRE, but really it's Oxycontin, and Roulette sees them unloading the truck and she sees that there's a box of spilled Oxycontin on the ground, and she winks at them or winks at the white boy. Then the show was over. Lots is happening, lots is going on. I'm excited to see next week. I love you all so much, and I'll definitely see you in the next one.